What's happening, home slices? I've got a question for all the gamers in the audience right now. What is your dream game? By that I mean, what is everything you would want in a video game? Something you could play for years and never grow tired of. Now, I want you to hold on to that thought, and let me explain what I would do first.
Hello and welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. And so whether you're here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, enjoy.
I've been clutching the controller since I was a tiny little man, but have only recently thought about this question within the last couple of years. I've thought of making things like fan games based off of already existing properties, but with this I'm referring to something that stands on its own. Now let me actually explain to you what kind of game I would make. I've always been more interested in the Nintendo brightly colored platformer types, the types of games where the devs just sort of fuck around and find out. Okay, here's my pitch. I would make a platformer
that's already been done before,
with open world elements
that's already been done before,
with hack and slash combat
that's already been done before,
with side quests where you help people out and flesh out the world
that's already been done before.
And a little virtual pet raiser on the side.
That's already been done before.
Wait
a minute.
Has it?
Wait, has it?
I don't know, man. I don't really work here.
Man, I don't care anymore. I'm done.
I don't think that's been done before, actually.
Come to think of it, I actually haven't heard of that.
Andy, I think you're actually a genius.
Yeah, no. That's actually original for once.
Andy, you might be the reincarnation of Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle at the same time.
Thanks, guys. With that, let me give you a brief... I keep saying bleef, dude. What the hell? Let me give you a brief plot synopsis. This is Zigzag, and he's our protag. Zigzag is a character of mine whose world I've been steadily developing for a couple years now. I made him on a whim back in 2019 for an art final and never looked back. And I think the best way to tell his story would be through a video game. His design is very clearly Rubber Hose inspired. He even does the Mickey Mouse ear thing when you see him at different angles. His deal is that he's a kid who lives in a futuristic world and loves doing normal kid things like doing parkour, provoking people for no reason, and summoning demons. Oh, and he also has Toon Force and wants to use his powers to be some kind of superhero. But in his mind, it consists of solely beating up evil. He even created a whole outline where he feels he needs at least 8 villains to assemble his own rogues gallery, much like his favorite superheroes. So he has a very surface level understanding of what it is to be a hero, while also just wanting to look cool. But throughout his journey, he realizes that being a hero is a lot more than just punching the shit out of some dickhead robbers. It's about, helping the little guy and people who are unable to protect themselves and junk. This is by no means a groundbreaking concept for a story, which is okay. You can have the most basic premise for a story and still make it good. Now that's all the information I'm willing to fork over for now, but I'll leave it at this. I want the main premise and sort of theme of the story to be biting off more than you can chew. But for now, transition. Now, this is where my chops lie. So, I'm an artist. Been drawing for my entire life, and it's what I'd like to do as a career. So, this will be the easiest part for me to explain. Aesthetically, my favorite era of games is the PS2 and Wii era. It's what I grew up with, so I'm already super biased, but everything during that time period just had this super striking and cool look to it that I really enjoy. You could lump all of these aesthetics together as Y2K, but they've since been divided into their own subgenres, and the ones that I'll be referring to are frutigerero and frutigermetro. These are the kind of aesthetics I would want to invoke for the environment and the UI. A mix of super glossy and futuristic combined with grunge, abstract, and Just Dance 2. In terms of inspiration from other games, I got a whole ass list. As I said earlier, I'm drawn to the PS2 and Wii era of games, but it's by no means limited to that. Allow me to provide some examples. Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Heroes, and Riders are definite graphical inspirations. I would want the characters to be relatively lower in the polygon count, while still being very expressive and cartoony. But other non-Sonic games that I'd like to mention are Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii, Hi-Fi Rush, Spark the Electric Jester, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Penny's Big Breakaway. Even games like Wii Sports and Opuna are huge graphical inspirations. Opuna in particular is up there as one of the biggest inspirations for how I'd want the game to look. Please go look up that game and give it some love, it's genuinely so cute. There's even fan games I would take inspiration from. They're all Sonic, by the way. Sonic before and after the sequel, Sonic and the Fallen Star, Sonic GT, even Sonic and Knuckles' Newtrogic Panic, which isn't even out yet. There are loads more games I could mention, but I'll just leave it at that for now. I just want the look of the game to have personality, since I feel like that's lost in a lot of games nowadays. Speaking of lost personality, user interfaces, because they got hit hard. Notice how in a lot of games, the UI seems to feel like an afterthought. The most common elements are that they're completely white, basic fonts, standard layouts, meters that are just straight lines, so on and so forth. Granted, they don't look bad, they're completely inoffensive and do the job that they're supposed to, but nothing is really compelling me to actually look or even keep an eye on them, which is gonna be a problem because they are something you're gonna want to keep track of. I'll talk more about the UI that I designed when we get to the gameplay section, but, you know, just keep all of this in mind. So, the characters. Oh, do I have things to say about the characters. So much so that I need to get real. Literally. What's up, friends? This is the live action part of the video that is also going to be the character analysis part. We got the dual camera setup, very professional, and I guess let's just get right the F into it. Let's start with the main character, of course, Zigzag. He is a 10-year-old, hyperactive, basically ADHD personified, just little boy. He also was gifted with the ability known as Toon Force, which to my understanding is the ability to warp reality to your will. So basically Looney Tunes logic. The problem with that is that he's only 10 years old and doesn't really know how to use his powers. But the main thing he does is spawn clones. And I say clones, but they're not really clones in the sense. The clones aren't lesser zigzags. They are all equally zigzag. So this fucking wind, bro. I swear to God. They all have the same thoughts, emotions, thought process, all that stuff. They're all the same kid. The only way, fuck you, wind. The only way that will be challenged will be given in this example. So, let's say we have clone A right here. Clone A decides to spawn clone B. Now, both of these zigzags, up until the point they split, have the same point of origin. They have the same personality, same thought process, same everything, up until the moment they split. Let's say clone A decides to just chill at home, chillax for the day or something. Clone B, however, goes off and does his own adventure, just, fucks around for the day. Now, at the end of the day, clone B comes back home to clone A, and let's say they both high five. By doing that, they both gain the memories of what both zigzags did in that day. So clone A has all the memories of what clone B did, and clone B has all the memories of clone A, of the things that they did during the day. So now they are both back up to being, just Zigzag, even though they're both equally Zigzag. Let's say Clone B goes off, lives his own life for like 10 years, to the point where he becomes like a completely different person. Maybe a shit ton's happened to him that kind of changes his personality or his views. At that point, he is fundamentally a different person, even though he is still technically a Zigzag. I see you. There's a fucking leaf that came up. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Maybe that camera definitely caught it. But Clone B becomes a different person, fundamentally. Now, if they were to come back together, Clone A and Clone B, and make contact again, they would both, again, gain the memories of what they had both done within the past 10 years. So they'd both be the same again. But if they never decide to, like, re-assimilate, then they are both fundamentally different people, and that's just how it stays. So that's kind of how the Toon Force cloning thing works. Now, as for, like, the actual character of Zigzag, he is a hyperactive, really high energy, really optimistic kid. He's also very impressionable. He's a lot to handle, but he's not the smartest, but he's got like really, his willpower is kind of insane. Now, being a 10-year-old, he lives with his parents, his mom and his dad. His dad is like kind of the gentle giant type, where he's more, I would say, emotionally intelligent. He's kind of a big soft teddy bear, doesn't like to argue, doesn't like to fight, doesn't really like confrontation. He's more of the emotionally intelligent one. He keeps both him and his mom from getting killed, basically. Just a big soft teddy bear all around. He's also pretty physically built. He's got a good bod on him. And really the only reason he decided to get big was so people would leave him alone. He's just a giant ball of anxiety. Now, his mom, on the other hand, complete opposite of his dad. Whereas his dad is an introvert, his mom, extrovert. She loves talking to people. She's very quippy, very, very sassy, very quick-witted, all that sort of stuff. And Zigzag gets like probably 80% of his entire personality from his mom. His mom is also, she can be very sociopathic. I thought it'd be funny to have sort of that contrast between his parents. Then he also has this little dog named Polka, short for Polka Dot, that comes with him on his adventures. And overall, he's got a really, really good home life. He's kind of like lucked out when it comes to that sort of thing. His family is very supportive of what he does. They were a little skeptical at first since he's so young, but at the end of the day, they really, really do support him and love him, which is something that, you just don't really see in a lot of superhero media nowadays. Just a family that's fucking supportive. Now, as for the side characters, there's a couple that I want to talk about. I'm still kind of mapping all of them out, but I have 3 main ones. Firstly is Shrimpy. Shrimpy is Zigzag's best friend, who is also kind of just a walking ball of anxiety. Basically, I want him to serve as like kind of the guy in the chair type deal. He doesn't like confrontation either. He's also very timid, second guesses a lot of things to the point where like it can kind of get annoying. But he's the best friend. They've been best buddies for like ever, since their whole lives. Now, Shrimpy also has a sister named Sharky. Sharky is the real girl in the chair, and Zigzag has a humongous crush on her, but it's more in a sense of like admiration, where like I really, really like your whole style and like flow going on. I like your personality a lot. But Sharky is very like nonchalant, very low emotion. That kid is staring at me right now. Sharky is like very nonchalant, very unemotive, and just kind of like chillaxed. She's basically like the cool sort of emo older sister type deal. She's also like way more tech savvy than Shrimpy is. She's actually the one with the like crazy computer setup. She likes skateboarding, she likes music. She's kind of tomboyish, but at the same time not really. She's a little bit emo, just a tiny bit, with the hair. Now the other side character is their mother, whose name is Daffodil. She is also kind of nonchalant, but she's like more chill and more emotive. She's like kind of the cooler one, where Sharky is very like, emo and unemotive. Daffodil is very like chillaxed and like just lax, basically. Now on to the villains. The villains are probably I would say, my favorite part, because they were just really fun to create, and just like how they would challenge Zigzag in a sense. The main overarching villain for the entire Ziggyverse, Baphomet. Baphomet, if you don't know, is the entity on the pentagram with the goat head. His deal is that he has the exact same powers as Zigzag, Toon Force, but he's been along for like way, way longer. Like he's been, I don't know how long, but he's been here for a while. The only problem with also having Toon Force is that he is just a horrible influence. Like, he is very mischievous, very vindictive, very manipulative. He will do anything to like sort of like get his way, but he's really just there for the thrill. Like, he's basically got nothing to lose, which is also very dangerous. Whereas he will, you know, do anything to bend the rules and get his way physically. He'll also do it like psychologically. Like, he will manipulate anybody in any way to sort of, I don't know, get what he needs, if he feels like he does. Now, villain number 2, his name is Fred, and he's basically the sort of drunken crackhead type deal. I don't have a whole lot to say about him, because actually a buddy of mine was the one who designed him and sort of came up with his story. Uh-oh. No, the wind is picking up. Fuck you, dude. I don't want to speak for my friend who created the character, but my understanding is that, you know, he's like kind of just an insane like party animal. He also uses a really beat up guitar as a weapon, because the way my friend set it up, or the way my friend sort of explained it to me, was he has been in like 40 different bands, and he's just kind of like, he's going like from couch to couch, which I thought was a pretty funny idea. But, you know, basically the resident crackhead. Villain number 3 is one of my personal favorites, is Twigfig, who is based off of I used to play a lot of those like stick flash games as a kid, where you'd play as a stick man beating the hell out of other stick men. There's one in particular called Rage, where you had this rage meter, and depending on how many stick men you beat up, you would basically go Super Saiyan. I'm stealing that idea and using it for Twigfig. As for his character, he is like the pop culture icon equivalent to the Zigzag world. He's basically like the Spider-Man, or like Daredevil, or Batman. I guess those 3 mixed together equivalent. Fucking this goddamn wind, bro. He's a very like don't meet your heroes type, where he just so happens to be big but doesn't really want to be famous. He's very quiet, just trying to do his own thing, really. Doesn't really like to be bothered, doesn't really socialize a lot. He also kind of lives in the woods, which is pretty cool. Zigzag is a huge fan of him. He's a huge inspiration to why he wants to do the whole hero thing. So that's his deal. Villain number 4. This one is for all the gooners out there. This is Andromeda. Now, you're probably wondering, why is she basically naked? Well, in the Ziggyverse, I want to establish that everybody is equal. Everyone is equal, bro. In cartoons, you know, it's a very common thing to see that the male characters are wearing basically nothing, and the female characters often have some kind of clothing. The Ziggyverse is free reign, man. Equal rights. So Andromeda is the resident sort of like ethos of the Ziggyverse. I imagine she's like a pop culture icon who has a really big following. She's also like a hothead. She has a temper. She's very impatient. She's a loudmouth, very, you know, not the easiest to negotiate with. But the one difference that she has is that she actually cares about her fans. Isn't that crazy? She values and appreciates the position that she's in, to have so many people just watch her and enjoy her content that they want to support her. You don't see that much nowadays, do you? Villain number 5. This is Professor Obsidian. Professor Obsidian is the sort of mad scientist type. He is probably the most, I guess, evil or like flawed person in Wave 1. He is very quiet, very unemotive, really likes to keep to himself. He's basically Twigfig on crack. He sits in his lab all day, just very unorthodox and like I guess morally questionable experiments. He also experiments on demons a lot of the time, which, I mean, demons are like a race in the Ziggyverse. So, like, very questionable. Like, he's basically kind of like a... What the fuck is the word? I don't remember. Sup, fellas? Sup? I am, yeah.
Wait, is it like anything, or is it just I will end you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it just this?
Yeah. I got an Instagram if you guys are on there.
Oh, you got Instagram?
Yeah.
What's your I will end you still?
It's the same, but like everything has an underscore.
Alright.
We gotta get back.
Alright, see you, man.
All right, see you later, fellas. Have a good one. Sorry about that. Two dudes just came up and I said hi, showed them my channel, all that stuff, which is like literally not impressive at all because I don't even have like 1K subs yet, and I've been on YouTube for like, I think my count is almost, I don't know how old it is. I think it's like 11. I think it turns 11 this year. That is insane. Or 12, I don't know. I have no idea. Anyways, he's basically the mad scientist type in the Ziggyverse. He is very, very quiet, very unemotive, kind of just a grumpy old man. His veins being darker and like the strands in his hair are caused due to the experiments he does. What he does is he conducts very unorthodox and like morally questionable experiments on demons, which in the Ziggyverse play like a really like strong role. It's like kind of viewed as a race of just the weird like beings that the Zigzag characters are, as well as also being like otherworldly like entities that you can summon. He does experiments on them. Only the otherworldly ones though, not the ones that like really? Not the ones that, you know, are just normal people. That is why he has like the darker veins, because he messes with a lot of them and like kind of pays the price for it with that. But very unemotive, stays in his lab all day, just kind of doing stuff. Villain number 6. This guy, his name is Nuke. Nuke is, oh, what the hell, dude? I'll admit, he's kind of the least fleshed out thus far. I'm not really sure what exactly I want to do with him just yet, but he is the tech geek villain. He's got a cool looking radio helmet, I imagine. I kind of want to make him like the Deadmau5 of this world, where he's like kind of a music guy. The best way I can describe his character is that he's all bark, no bite. So he's kind of a humongous coward who just talks a lot of shit and then is not able to dish it out once, you know, someone actually fights back. He's also not a robot. He simply just has a lot of techie stuff on. Like underneath the helmet, he's actually like a more traditional looking alien where he's got the antennas, but he's also a nonchalant dreadhead. He's got a cool set of dreads on him, so it's pretty cool. Villain number 7. I really wanted to introduce a like sort of cult-like thing to the Ziggyverse, whereas Batman has like the Court of Owls and wanted to give him sort of his own thing. So since demons play a big part in this world, I thought it would be perfect to have a cult that worships Baphomet. The name for the cult isn't exactly final yet, so I think I'm going to go for something equivalent to the Banned Ones, because an alias for Baphomet in this universe is the Banned One, because he should not be summoned like at all ever. Now the leader of this cult could basically be considered the 7th villain in the Ziggyverse, and her name is Emperor Moth. She is a very creepy looking short old lady who has devoted her life to praising Baphomet. She is very remorseless. Thank you Leaf. She is very remorseless, very unemotive, very scary, very intense. A very intense old woman who is also like surprisingly agile, because the Ziggyverse like entities, like the characters, the race that they are, don't exactly age in a sense. Like they don't like grow old and die. They do grow old, but they don't die. But she's a very scary old lady. That's kind of all I have to say for her. Now the last villain number 8, is probably one of the coolest and probably one of the most tragic. Their name is Shrubby. Shrubby is the shapeshifter of the Zigzag world, and his existence is also, like, his mere existence is flawed. When you imagine a shapeshifter, you imagine just someone who can, shift their form into whatever shape they please. With Shrubby, he is like an obsolete shapeshifter. And by that, I mean every single time he shapeshifts, it also becomes a new personality. So he's basically a shapeshifter with multiple personality disorder. To explain the whole shape-shifting personality thing, it's, it seems pretty self-explanatory, where every single time he shapeshifts, it's just a new personality. All right, bro, really? They are all still equally Shrubby. Like, they all go by the name Shrubby, and they all, they can interact with each other in their heads. They don't all share the same thought process, though. Like, they all kind of have their own views and stuff. Like, I imagine there's one that's, just a pothead who's, super nonchalant, and then another one who's, kind of a crazy teenage girl. I guess really the last thing to talk about is my design philosophy. I don't have a crazy one, but I do have a couple rules. Rule number 1, the characters have to have some kind of glove wear to them. It can't just be, me right now. It can either be, classic, Mickey Mouse style gloves, to, fingerless gloves, to, sports tape, or, wrapping, around your hand, as long as, the palm and the backs are covered with something. The fingers are free reign, though. Those can be loose as a goose. Rule number 2, if the character looks too human, give them an element that would maybe, you'd be able to tell, oh, yeah, maybe they're not human. Whether that be, alien antenna ears, a skin tone that wouldn't, a normal human would not have, blue or, I don't know, green or red or something like that. Or a tail. Just some fantastical element, really. The third rule I can think of is no human ears. They can't have ears like this. They either gotta have, just invisible ears or, something, just no human ears. That's basically it. And that's basically all I can think of for, this live action segment. I've been postponing this for fucking months. I tried to record it back in January, but it was way too cold. I did it super late at night. I also tried to do it a couple months later where it was better, but I didn't like how it came out. But yeah, that's basically it for the live action segment. Thank you. Ugh. Ow. Oh, God. My foot fell asleep, or my whole leg fell asleep while I was doing this, bro. So this is the area where I have the least amount of expertise, but I did play a lot of video games in my youth, so I'm going to try and articulate my ideas as best as possible. Firstly, as I said in the beginning of the video, the genre I would absolutely want this game to be is an open world platformer. When thinking of the gameplay, mainly traversal, I thought, what is a fun method of transportation that's so fun that you wouldn't want to just fast travel? The first thing I think of are the Insomniac Spider-Man games, in particular Spider-Man 2. In the game you web swing, obviously, but there's momentum, pendulum physics, and a trick system that allows you to charge up the ability to boost and propel yourself upwards. You can hit stylish maneuvers, glide with the web wings, zip to ledges and bounce off of them to keep your momentum. It's genuinely fun as hell to travel in the game. Of course, I can't just copy these ideas because it just wouldn't make sense for the character. So I decided to take some inspiration from my childhood. When I was in elementary school, me and my friends would always play tag during recess on the playground, just jumping around, vaulting, free running, doing parkour. And then it hit me, free running and parkour. That would be a perfect means of traversal for this game. Vaulting, wall running, swinging, grinding, tricking, flipping, these were all the things me and my friends did as kids, and it'd be mad satisfying to hit some crazy ass combo in game. There could even be unlockable skateboards, scooters, and rollerblades and such just to spice it up even more. And for the inevitable future racing spin-off. Now, I use the term open world very loosely because it's not as open world as, say, Breath of the Wild or something like that. It's more, I imagine there would be an open world-esque hub world where you can interact with people and maybe even go on side quests. You could go into Zigzag's house, into the city, the sky, underground, the forest, suburbia, just a bunch of diverse locations that are all interconnected. As far as levels go, I'd like them to be pretty big open playgrounds where you go from point A to point B. I cite Spark the Electric Jester as a good example since those levels are huge. There could even be sub-levels that could be mission-based where you gotta complete an objective. I think the game would follow a structure where you have sections of the hub world that have the levels inside of them. Level themes I got a ton of ideas for. Like, I always imagine the first level being a sort of technological beach with wireframe palm trees that is right next to a freeway with cars that you could either ride upon or get hit by. That level would directly lead into the second level, which I imagine would be a futuristic, brightly colored city where you can bounce off of the buildings, ride atop bullet trains, and briefly maybe even go through the subway. And then that level leading into the third level, which I would imagine is a giant ass frutigerero style mall. I got a couple more ideas for levels, like an underground party where you go through caves, mines, and ravines with running lava, party lights, and disco balls everywhere. Another party level that instead takes place at a water park at night with ball pit balls flying around everywhere. And so many more, but I'll just leave it at that. Combat is another important element I'd want this game to have. One of the main focuses of this game would be the villains and their boss fights, so combat should be important. I think games like Devil May Cry and Hi-Fi Rush have really good examples of combat, being very flashy, free-flowing, and being able to rack up combos. Now, every platform should have collectibles, and well, Zigzag has Watts. Tiny little white lightning bolts that would act as your in-game currency. He doesn't lose them when he gets hit though. As for being in-game currency, there should also be a shop where you could buy various abilities to enhance gameplay. As said earlier, scooters, skateboards, and rollerblades could be some traversal unlockables. Branching off the subject of unlockables, this is the UI I designed. I didn't want there to be too much going on as to not overload the player with information, so I kept it to the watt counter, the time of day and or the timer, depending on if you're in the hub world or a level, your life system, and these two meters. The watt counter and the timer are pretty self-explanatory, but the other two are going to need some explaining. The way the life counter works is simple. You only have 3 hit points, and every time you get hit, you lose 1. Now, I would have preferred to come up with something more unique, but I honestly could not think of anything even remotely clever. The fun part about it though is the visuals. When you have all 3 lives, you have a normal looking icon, but every time you get hit, the icon deteriorates and becomes shittier in quality. Now as far as the meters go, they are what I like to call the implicator and the metameter. The implicator would be used for demon powers only. I forgot to mention that demons play a big part in the world as they're seen as another race of this weird ass species. You see, summoning demons is one of Zigzag's hobbies, and I think it'd be cool if they maybe lent him their powers every once in a while. At least the nice ones would. I imagine that you buy crystals that houses the demon's powers in them, and when you use them, they grant you new abilities depending on the demon. Every time you use one of the powers, the implicator loses a bit of juice. They would be pretty damn powerful, so to even it all out, there would be a hefty cooldown once you use a move or when you get hit. You don't lose the powers when you get hit, but you can turn it on and off whenever you want. But not everything can be affected with the demon powers to avoid them being too OP. Now the metameter is directly tied to Zigzag's Toon Force. For this one, it would work as an upgrade system where you gradually unlock more and more moves and abilities over time. The power you would start off with is spawning clones. The max you can spawn is 8, and they just kinda help you beat people up. Maybe further on, they could help you out with takedowns a la Insomniac Spider-Man. I haven't fleshed out the meters too much, so I hope this all makes sense. The last idea I can think of is the typical platformer invincibility upgrade. In the levels, there'd be sugar cubes that you could stumble upon. When walking into them, you enter a state that I'd like to call Sugar Rush. When you're under its condition, you become super fast and break through anything you charge into. The background becomes a psychedelic mess and your eyes flash every color of the rainbow while fast-paced, high-energy music plays in the background. It works in the same way the star and invincibility works in both Mario and Sonic. It doesn't last very long, so you better make it count. Okay, so this is yet another area where I'm not too knowledgeable, but I do listen to a lot of music, which is good enough, right? Now, me personally, I like variety. I just wouldn't be satisfied if we only stuck to one genre, you know? I'd love to have a little bit of everything. For this next part, I'm going to be providing some brief examples of what kind of vibes I'd like to aim for, some of which will most definitely get me claimed, so I'm going to try and be careful here. The first acts of the main levels I think would be upbeat yet soothing, something to get you in the mood, while also being something you could just chill to. Like imagine blasting through the first level with a super upbeat track with a high tempo. For the second acts of the levels, they would be more lo-fi and chill tracks. Not entirely, like I still think they should serve to get you moving, but for the most part. Like imagine tumbling your way down a subterranean disco with a funky track playing.
Let's look at the funk.
The third acts of the levels would be the most bumping. Nothing but high energy, fast-paced craziness. Like imagine splashing about at a water park ball pit party at night. Here's a few more examples.
I wouldn't have to know how little I got.
The hub worlds, being the place where you just kind of chill out and explore and relax, would absolutely have the most relaxing and soothing tracks, sometimes even being ambient. All the genres of music I'd like to include are funk, jazz, EDM, lo-fi, and really all the music I've been using in the background for this entire video. Now, this section in particular is going to be very special to me because it's a big reason why I want to create my own game so bad. I really enjoy virtual pet raisers. I played a lot of Pokemon when I was a kid, and especially Chao Garden, which is where the inspiration for this last segment is going to be primarily based off of. The Chao Garden is a very special place to me because I believe that it has such an amazing gameplay loop. In both Sonic Adventure games, it's basically its own side game within another game, but the two are linked because you can go into the main game to get things for your Chao. The Chao themselves are these adorable little onion creatures that are insanely customizable. Seriously, this shit goes deep. Not only can your Chao evolve into all these different types, but they can also come in different colors. They can be monotone, two-tone, shiny, or jewel. And when you factor breeding into the mix, it goes even deeper. You can have Chao that are colored but still two-tone, shiny two-tones, even transparent and invisible Chao. Okay, let me actually get to the point. I want a virtual pet raising side game within this game. Now, I'm still trying to figure everything out when it comes to how I would approach it, mainly because I think the Chao Garden already does it so perfectly that there isn't a whole lot I could think of that would add anything onto it. But I'll explain what I've thunk up so far. So, in this world, the funny cartoon alien creatures are the human equivalents, and alongside them, there also exists animal equivalents. And much like the real world, they also act as the pets of this world. I mean, even Zigzag himself has his own cheese curd dog thing. For these guys, I took inspiration from Chao, of course, Tamagotchis, and a lot of the mid-2000s collectible toys. Design-wise, they definitely take after Tamagotchis the most, being these cute little simply designed creatures and how there are a set number of body types, faces, and proportions they can have. I'd want it to be as customizable as Chao are, where you can breed to get different colors and textures, and accessories of course. Part of the fun with the Chao Garden was how colorful you could make your garden look with all the different types of Chao. I'm so unoriginal that I think they would work the same way as SA1, where one of the gardens can be found within the hotel. The creatures could play, sit around, interact with each other, sleep. Basically, if you've played Chao World Extended or Enhanced World, all the stuff they can do in there. And none of it would be mandatory, just a simple side piece when you perhaps need a break from the main game. This is legit one of the biggest reasons why I want to make my own game, all because a side game within another game has had me hooked for so long that I keep going back to it year after year. And if my game had this, I think it would also be a game I revisit a lot. Well, that was my OC Yap Fest. I've been dying to get these concepts out there for a while now. Like I've said, I've been developing this world in my noggin while occasionally drawing them out, and I truly think this world would be best formatted into a video game. There is just one small problem though. I don't know how to code. A project like this would definitely require a team to bring to life. I mean, if I had the drive, I could do everything myself, but I would need loads of experience and it would take eons just to finish the first game. Yeah. First game. But it's also important to recognize that these things take time and I shouldn't let these limitations keep me from doing what I want to do, because I eventually want to make this pitch a reality. It will probably be a long time from now, but it'd be really sick. Not only would it be really self-gratifying, but also for my younger self. Like if I were to go back in time and give my 8-year-old self this game, he'd probably really hate it, love it. I'm also aware that this is nothing groundbreaking, it's mainly just for me, which is a large part of my mentality when I make art. And if other people just so happen to fuck with it, that's just an added bonus. But to wrap all this up in a nice little bow, This was mainly just an excuse for me to talk about this funky little universe I've created, while also articulating how I would turn it into a game from someone who has no experience making a game. Oh well, I guess I can always turn it into a comic instead.